Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm CJ and this is my review of Solo Leveling Episode 1. We begin in a 3-year flashback overlooking an island totally surrounded by ships. This shot is pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie, I like as you're looking down on the island surrounded by ships and then overlooking the island from a ship. Explosions seen from the ship's point of view. The first info we are given in the episode is that the weaponry on the ship would deal no damage to whomever or whatever they are fighting. All they can do is leave the battle up to the hunters. Cutting over to a person running through a forest being chased by some big damn ass ants. He rallies up with others before the group gets jumped on by the ants. These ants are big, deep red and looking rather bloody hungry. They look easily twice the size, maybe more than the size of humans fighting them. The battle begins and the ants kind of look like they have the upper hand as the attacks from the hunters are just sweeping off them as they're charging. This scene made me kind of feel for the hunters, but it also made me reminisce about the Chimera arc from Hunter x Hunter. If you know, you know. The ants have pretty much overpowered the hunters and began eating them. All seems to be over for these hunters until one person drops in and one-shots an ant off a hunter with a weapon that to me looks like an eaten apple on a stick. Honestly, you can't tell me this doesn't look like that. Two more hunters jump in to fight the ants. One of them uses hand-to-hand combat while the other uses lightning magic. The three hunters are all S ranked. They are Min Byung-gu, who is the healer, Inyeonsek, the magic user, and Bae Yuno, the fighter. Hoping I pronounced them correct. The two hunters engage with even larger and more powerful white ants. Both hunters power up and charge at the ants. I quite like this overall opening because it gives you action to prepare, like to help prepare you for what this season is going to offer. From a distance, we see another group who is preparing to clash with another wave of red and white ants. This group is being led by a mysterious man, also known as the Guild Master. I'm currently pretty locked in for this season as I'm already being intrigued, like magic, adventure, action. It's kind of everything I look for in an anime and I'm pretty well drawn into this so far. So far we have a level of gore and action with intense music to set the scene. You are introduced to monsters which vary in strength and humans who have different powers and abilities, and we've not quite been told how all this works. We cut to some expeditional information where we learn about portals that have been appearing all around the world like over a decade ago, connected to another dimension that's full and teeming with monsters that we call magic beasts. These beasts are immune to all types of conventional weaponry. However, those unlucky bastards are not ready for the humans who have been able to awaken abilities to combat the beasts that we call hunters. When humans awaken an ability, they get tested for to determine their rank in society from S to E, S being the strongest level you can achieve and E being the lowest level you can achieve. With these powers, there is a big catch, which is no amount of training can level up these abilities. Your powers and your rank are set from day one. Like you can't increase them, but like from day one, if you rank out at like level E, that is your set for life. If you ranked at level S, you stuck at level S. We move back to the present day outside of a construction site where we overlook a portal. This shot is pretty cool because you see a bunch of different people like hanging around the construction site. The portal itself is like positioned quite nicely in the construction site. We meet some new characters plus our main protagonist, Jin-woo. Our protagonist is also known as the weakest hunter of all mankind, so when others seem on a mission, they believe it's going to be his easy raid, and I kind of can't wait to see how he becomes stronger if he's the weakest. I'm kind of curious about that. Our hunter party, who are about to raid this construction site, consists of 13 members, including Jin-woo. A hunter named Cheol Song decides to become the party leader. As the party are entering, just before Sung Jin-woo enters, he looks at his knife, which he claims to have barely any magic power, which is the only weapon he could afford, which kind of makes me feel bad for him because he's weak he can't grow in strength, which means that like he's not going to be able to acquire decent amount of like cash compared to other hunters, so he's going to kind of struggle to obtain new weaponry. So I can't wait for that to like change for him so he can actually like increase. We get treated to some more exposition that the magic beasts contain items known as essence stones. These stones are a valuable item which can be used to make weapons and armor to fight the beasts. It's kind of like a weird circle of death where you kill a beast, you take it to stone, the stone becomes a weapon or armor, you obtain the weapon or armor, and then you kill a beast again, and it's like a little cycle of pretty much death for these things. However, the governments want to use the stones for a more ideal and clean, safe energy. It makes the hunter's situation, like the reason for them to go into the portals, they not only are going in to fight the beast, but they've got to acquire the stones for governments to create an energy source. While our party are busy fighting, Jin-woo is seemingly quite surprised he's managed to collect one of these essence stones. Before he can celebrate about it, he's quickly attacked by a goblin beast. Unfortunately, his knife does get broken and he's heavily wounded by this goblin before another hunter comes and rescues him, and his friend Lee Jo-hee has to jump in and heal him. The party wipe out the last of the beasts, assuming that when you wipe out the beast and possibly the dungeon boss, the portal will shut down and the humans get sent back to where they came from. Currently this hasn't happened yet, and it's kind of like leaving the hunters like a bit confused as to why the place hasn't shut down, until one of the hunters finds a strange, dark and mysterious tunnel to God knows what. My natural intrusive thoughts would be to charge in there and see what's going on, but that's probably not the wisest decision. Anyway, the team have to vote on what to do, whether or not they enter this strange, dark and mysterious tunnel, or return back to the normal world and report their findings, in which the Hunters Association are probably more likely to send a stronger group of hunters in to find out what's down there. We don't really see much action during this scene. Like, we get the little bit between Jin-woo and the goblin, but we don't really get to see any of the other hunters in like full-on battle. So the hunters do a vote on whether or not to enter or leave. It is split pretty evenly. Half want to go in, half want to go home, and it leaves our main protagonist the deciding factor, and he chooses to go in. Of course, you know, for the plot and for the story, of course they're going to go in. I'd probably do the same, to be fair. The hunters walk what is possibly like 40 minutes, I believe they say, down this huge tunnel until they come to gigantic doors. They enter the doors, and inside is a room filled with also gigantic statues, and we get a shot of the hunters walking in, and there's two statues either side of this door, and the size comparison between these stone statues and the hunters is insane. It is like a colossal titan standing in front of humans. The room lights up with blue flames that are mounted on the walls. The hunters have a quick little look around. They don't really see anything apart from some tablets that are attached on the walls, I believe it is. One of the hunters reads out what the tablet says, and is displaying the temple commandments, which are: 1. Thou shalt worship God. 2. Thou shalt praise God. 3. Thou shalt prove thy faith. And a little warning after, saying, for those who do not follow these laws, be warned, you will not leave alive. Though I feel like this exposition is kind of more important than what it's deeming out to be, as the person who's reading it's kind of pushed back into the background during this scene. So it's kind of like made kind of swept under the rug with these, but if you kind of pay attention to what's being said as well as what's going on around you, you do get to hear the commandment and the warning. Shortly after the scene, the doors of the temple slam shut, kind of startling the hunters. I mean, I'd be bloody startled as well if these big hulking doors just slam shut, you're gonna be a little bit startled, I ain't gonna lie. One hunter goes and approaches the doors to try and leave. Unfortunately for him, he is quickly dispatched as one of the stone statues lifts its, is it a mace? I want to assume that this statue is holding a mace. Anyway, like, it lifts its weapon and just polishes this hunter into pieces. All the other hunters are just thrown into panic, because you're not going to expect a statue to move at all, let alone just incinerate what is possibly a D-ranked hunter, which shouldn't be quite possible if they're in what is a D-ranked, well, what they assume is a D-ranked dungeon. They shouldn't be getting polished off like that. Beasts like this shouldn't be there. So yeah, all the hunters are kind of in panic. They don't know what to do until Jin-woo kind of gets hit with the sudden realization that if all of these statues can move, then this big one sat on the throne that's probably double, maybe 3 times the size of all the other statues, has also got the potential to move. As Jin-woo kind of looks back at this statue, his its eyes move to look at the hunters before Superman powered laser beams shoot from its eyes, incinerating one hunter and decimating the temple floor. Just before we cut to a black screen, we get a intensely panicked face from Jin-woo as he's like thinking, holy crap, we're all going to die in here. So yeah, we're left on what is a pretty big cliffhanger. I already want to watch the next episode. Like, will they survive? Are they gonna get wiped out? I mean, it's the first episode, so I'm assuming Jin-woo is going to make it out, but I'm kind of curious about how he makes it out. The credits are just rolling credits, so there's nothing really to say about that. The background song for the credits is pretty decent, but I typically find that, like, short new series, their opening song is the ending song for the very first episode. So I'm kind of curious to see what the opening is going to be for the next episode, and if the rolling credits are just a common thing for this series. But yeah, so if you like this episode and you can't wait to see more of my anime reviews, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Also, like the video so you don't miss any epic reviews.